Today we're going to be talking about powers and exponents, which you should have talked about exponents before. So in this little box, I have something that says 2 to the fourth. So 2 is what we call the base. So the base is just the number that is literally larger in size. And 4, this little number in the corner, is called the exponent. So the base is the number that gets multiplied repeatedly. The exponent is telling you how many times it gets multiplied. We have a blank here to fill out. So a power is when two or more numbers are multiplied together to form a product. So really it's just a problem that involves exponents. Now the first set of examples, it says write each power, so we can think that as problem for now. Write each problem as a product means multiply, of the same factor. So we know we're going to be multiplying the same thing. It doesn't actually say solve, so I'm not going to solve it. It just says write the same thing as a multiplication problem. So 7 to the fifth means 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. So I'm going to write that out. 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. So I have 7 5 times. And that's actually your answer. So when it says write each power as a product, the same factor, it's kind of like showing your work without getting to the answer part. So it's just writing it all out. So 5 squared would mean 5 times 5. 2 to the first means just 1, 2. That's it. Now this next thing throws some people off because it's not what you would assume. Any number raised to the 0 power, so if your exponent is 0, it's always 1. So this next set of examples, we have a couple that have 0 as an exponent. So if I have 1056 to the 0 power, it's just 1. Doesn't matter what the number is, if 0 is the exponent, your answer is 1. 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3. And so I'm going to work my way up. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. So I do want to see your work when you go to solve these, and the work that I need to see is you writing it out. Because sometimes some people might see that they didn't put enough numbers, and that might be where they made a mistake. So make sure you write it out. Part C, we see 3 to the 0 power, which we know is 1. And then I have 1 to the fourth. So off to the side, I'm going to figure out what is 1 to the fourth. So 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. Now this is why I have you write it out, because some people will be like, oh, 1 times 4, that's 4. But if we look more closely, 1 times 1 is 1, times 1 is 1, times 1 is 1. So 1 to the fourth power is 1. Then 1 plus 1 is 2 for your final answer. Okay, moving down. Sometimes you might have exponents where the base is negative. It's still the same thing. So negative 2 to the third power means negative 2 3 times. So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2, we have to think of our rules from yesterday. Negative times negative is a positive because those negatives cancel each other out. So 2 times 2 is 4, and negative times negative is positive, so positive 4. Bring down this times negative 2. 4 times negative 2 is going to give me a negative 8, since they're different signs. So anytime you have a negative as your base and your exponent is odd, your answer will actually be negative. Number 2, negative 7 to the second power. So negative 7 times negative 7. Well, we know 7 times 7 is 49, but we also know a negative times a negative is a positive, so the answer is 49. Next, numbers written without exponents are in standard form. So I tend to think of this as the answer. So if it doesn't have exponents, that means that you solved it. Numbers written with exponents are in exponential form, which makes sense because it has the word exponent in it. Oops. Okay. So an example, write 2 to the fourth in standard form. This really just means solve it, since we don't want that exponent anymore. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So notice that I didn't actually write out that 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16, but I did write out all of my numbers. That is what I definitely need to see for your work. Next, write all these 2's in exponential form. So I know 2 is my base because that's the number that's repeating. I just need to see how many times it's repeating. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's my exponent. And I'm done. Next, evaluate 6 cubed. So first you have to know what cubed means. Cubed means that the exponent is 3. So 6 with a little 3. Way to remember that is if you think of a cube, so just a box, that is a three-dimensional object, which is why they use a 3, because it's three-dimensional. So if I have 6 cubed, that means 6 times 6 times 6. And I know that 6 times 6 is 36. So I have to figure out what 36 times 6 is. I don't want to use a calculator. You might want to, but you're not going to. So off to the side, I'm going to do it. 36 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36, so put your 6, carry your 3. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 is 200, or 21. So your final answer is 216. Okay, so that's all we have for exponents today. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.